All right, here we go. The mighty return of D.L. Hughley.
There he is.
Back on Vlad TV.
Back on Vlad TV, baby.
Yeah, we got to do this a few times a year.
Yeah,
we're
going to do it more. Yeah, for sure.
Well, bunch of stuff happening right now. I'm closest to this situation just because I know some of the people involved.
Yeah.
Kendrick, on his new album, GNX, had a line said, "Don't let no white comedian talk about no black woman. That's law."
Right.
And Andrew Schulz took that personally.
Right.
So he responded, and he did this whole comedic tirade.
Was it comedic?
I thought it was. You don't think so?
No.
I mean, he is a professional comedian.
Yeah, I get it. And here's the thing: when he did the thing about the black girlfriend effect, hilarious. And I think that no comic should be told what to do. I think that comedy and the comic's vantage point is sacrosanct. But there's a couple of things he did that I was like. First off, when he said rappers are trying to tell comedians what to do, one man said something. And what a lot of white guys tend to do is lump niggas all together. So it wasn't just one dude, it was a rapper, rappers did it. And then and it's always, well, y'all do this, so we do this. Comedy is sacrosanct to me. But he sounded just like all the white dudes I see on Fox News. Every time somebody gets shot, what about black on black crime? So to me, it lost its comic vantage point when that happened.
Well, right. He basically said that in response that he could make love to Kendrick Lamar.
Well, what he said is he could rape him.
Right. Well, he said he could make love to him. The only thing he
call
can
it
do
what we want
is
to.
decide whether it's consensual or not.
That's rape, right?
Which is rape, right.
So, and to me, when a white boy talks about buck breaking a nigga, that's problematic. Now, to me, that could be funny. I've never seen a rape joke be funny. I've never seen it. But you can't then say, well, they're making all these threats to my daughters and all this kind of stuff. You can't do that. To me, and then I heard him and they were talking about, oh, I make jokes about everybody. I guarantee you he would never make a rape joke about nobody else but a black man. Ever. Ever.
I don't know. You didn't find the rant a little bit funny? I didn't. Before all the other stuff. Before all the other stuff, you didn't find that kind of funny. I found it kind of funny.
I didn't think, to me, it's not up to me whether I think it's funny or not. I'll defend the cat's right to say whatever he wants to say, ultimately. Because I believe that, like I said earlier, the ability for you to say whatever you want to say is sacrosanct. But when Ice Cube's son got mad, he was like, well, what did your father say? It lost comedic.
Right. Well,
he wasn't trying to be funny. He was trying to make a point.
One of Ice Cube's biggest songs was "No Vaseline,"
but that was
a rape song.
It was not a little rape song. It was an artistic interpretation of what he liked to do. He wasn't talking about fucking another nigga. He wasn't saying that for real.
Well, he was saying that Easy was fucking NWA out of the money.
Right. So it's not the same thing. It wasn't the same thing. Well, this man said.
Do you think that Andrew really wants to rape Kendrick Lamar?
I think that I've never known a white dude that hung around black people that didn't go too far once in a while. I just have never seen it.
Really?
I don't think.
What about me?
No, well, you haven't done it to me. You haven't done it to me.
Okay.
But when you are talking about, I could hold, and you're a big 6'3" dude, but I know a lot of little niggas that went to joint and didn't get fucked. So let's be clear. Okay. So it was about. Do you realize that if you say rape or describe rape on social media, they'll take your account down? You got to say essay. You got to say anything but that. When you say to me, I'm telling you, I've never seen a rape joke be funny. I called you one time because another person said something about raping a kid. Remember that? We did an interview.
Charleston White.
I don't think that's funny at all.
Right.
But I'm a comedian, so I got to protect your right to say it. Well, when a white man talks about raping a nigga.
Okay, Charleston wasn't saying it in a comedic way. He was saying it in an anger way. Like, I'll rape your baby. Like, or I'm mad at you.
To me, if we take the verbiage or the saccharine out of it, is a white man saying, I'll take this from you, and I didn't see the premise, the punchline, or the setup. I didn't see it. What I did was, I saw a guy who thought he could say something. He could do whatever he wants. I'll defend his right to say it. I didn't think it was funny. And whatever comes as a result of that is on you.
Well, DL, like, me and you are friends.
Right.
And would you agree that a person of one race can debate with a person of another race, and it doesn't have to be racist from either person?
Sure. But I don't agree that you can talk about raping somebody and that be funny. That's where I draw the line. I've never seen a rape joke be funny.
I'm trying to think whether I've remember a rape joke that was funny. But I honestly thought that his rant about Kendrick was funny. I found it funny. I'm not gonna deny it just because I'm in the room with you right now.
I didn't think it was funny at all.
Okay.
But I defended his right to say. I talked to Charlamagne for a long time about it.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to defend your right to say whatever.
Charlamagne defended him.
I'm going to defend your right to say whatever you want to say. But when you say I could take it from you, and you have to decide whether it's consensual or not, right? Imagine that scenario in any other circumstance but a black man, any other one, where society wouldn't be boiling over. He knows what the sweet spots are. He knows what he can say, what he can't say.
Okay, when Saucy Santana was going back and forth with academics,
right?
Saucy, who is a man, a gay man,
right,
BBL or otherwise, was basically saying he's going to rape academics.
I think that's fucked up. I didn't think it was funny.
Everyone laughed.
I didn't laugh.
No one was outraged, was like, this is so horrible.
I didn't laugh. I just, listen, I would defend his right to say it. I didn't laugh at what Michael Richards said. I didn't laugh at what John Rocker said. I didn't laugh at what Don Imus said. But I'm on record as defending their right to say it. Right?
Yeah.
I never seen a rape joke be funny. And I think it struck a nerve because it's basically somebody talking about bug breaking.
Wait. Hold on. Because I had to think about it. I can name you a popular rape joke that everyone laughed at, probably including you.
Okay.
Eddie Murphy.
What?
The Mr. T joke.
I did.
Remember the Mr. T?
No.
Rape joke?
No.
Like, come here, boy. Like all that. You don't remember that? Hold on a second.
No.
Hold on.
What we're doing is comparing apples and bowling balls. He didn't say he would rape somebody. He was talking about somebody else. He
was a joke about Mr. T raping other men.
Right. This dude said.
But it's still a rape joke. It's still a rape joke.
We're gonna.
It's still a rape joke. Dion, come on. It's still a rape joke.
Did you
find Delirious funny?
I don't know that. I don't remember that I did. I found Delirious funny.
You didn't find Delirious funny.
Delirious is the funniest stand-up special I've ever seen.
Well, you probably found it funny.
To be clear, I don't think it's funny. I've never seen a rape joke be funny. That doesn't mean I won't defend somebody's right to say it.
Okay.
And you know, from me, when somebody said something that I thought was out of line, I did an interview, and you have to break me. You have to pry me to do an interview because I hate to. That's how incensed I am about it. Now, because I'm an artist too, I have to give people latitude. But then you can't get on TV and say, well, they saying all these things. That's how this goes, man. A vile threat is oftentimes met with a vile threat.
Look, I mean, me and Andrew, we talked a couple days ago, actually. And we've been texting ever since. And I don't think that he really thinks that they're really going to kill his daughter or whatever else. We all get these weird death threats online. I get them every week, pretty much.
Sure.
And is anyone really going to crash out, show up at your house, try to kidnap someone, try to hurt somebody? No, I don't think so. I think people would be, people understand there's repercussions trying to do that.
Right.
Will they really crash out because they're a fan of Kendrick Lamar? I doubt it.
What I'm saying is this. I don't think that, and I think anything, we've had conversations, I think anything can be funny. And if it was funny, we ain't having this conversation. But I think that I've never seen rape jokes be funny. And then the whole idea that I have a heart, because I'm a black man and an artist in defense of an art that I love and somebody who's very proficient at it. So lines are crossed in all kinds of ways. But when I hear white guys say, well, these artists, rappers are trying to tell, what he's trying to do is rally people against, to buttress his argument. A man says something he didn't like. When you brought up Ice Cube, when you brought up R. Kelly, and you talked about how That had nothing to do with the argument. What you're doing is what they do on Fox News. There's no discernible argument. That wasn't a comedic argument. That was a cultural argument that white men use all the time. Every time they're called on the carpet for something, they go, but you do it. And it's this. A man says something that he didn't like. He put it on the whole genre to buttress his argument. A man, when Ice Cube said something, Cube's son said something about it, rather than talking to him about saying I wrote a joke, you told him how his father wrote a song about no Vaseline, which had nothing, wasn't even similar to the joke you made. But that's what white dudes do.
It had some similarities.
I disagree.
It had some similarities. I'm not going to say it's the same thing, but it had some similarities.
I disagree.
But Meek Mill actually chimed in. He said, white man saying they'll rape black men openly is extreme, and then say it's just a joke. Black manhood is not a joke. I see the same guy saying, I was gay on a stand-up. My white friend's like, it's a joke. We don't joke like that in the black community at all. But when Andrew actually did a big show, I think in New York, and he was joking about Meek Mill being gay, Meek actually reposted and said, this is actually kind of funny.
I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not, listen.
It was a good stand-up, I thought.
You have the right, listen, I'm having an argument that seems really confusing to everybody else, but to me it's clear. I didn't think the joke was funny.
Yeah.
And
that's fair. That's your right.
I think it had cultural implications that I don't think he was oblivious to. I don't think it was an accident. But I defend your right to say it as an artist. I defend your right to, you'll never see me tell an artist what to say. But I do not give you the benefit of the doubt because I don't think it was rooted in that. I thought it was rooted in something else. I do.
It just annoys me that in a lot of cases, I'm not saying in this case, but I'm saying in a lot of cases, when you have two races start to argue with each other, debate with each other or whatever, it suddenly devolves into this race person is trying to do this to this other race person.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying? And whereas
somebody trying to talk about raping somebody here's the thing. I thought the joke he told about the black woman effect was hilarious. I'm not sensitive in that way. I'm not sensitive in any way at all. I don't give you the benefit of the doubt, and I don't think that you're unaware of the cultural implications. I do not think when you say to me, this is just my estimation of it, when he says something and you go, oh, now they trying to tell us what to do? Niggas is one. But every time I hear somebody make this argument, it's always they. Whether it's black on black crime or whether it's language and rap, Kendrick is a specific artist talking about a specific thing. When somebody takes the vantage point that this genre is now talking about my genre, he uses that, in my estimation, to buttress an argument he wants to have. It is a cultural argument, not a comedic one.
Well, yeah, look, he's just talking about Kendrick. Kendrick did not reply, to be fair.
He will.
You think so?
I would imagine he would.
I don't know. Kendrick is... he does sometimes reply, sometimes doesn't.
A grown man who believes that he's physically bigger and stronger than somebody, I know a lot of dudes who got their ass whipped by a lot of smaller dudes. The point is, he's a talented kid. He's having a great run.
Yeah.
I wish him well. I don't think a joke about rape is funny, but I defend your right to say it.
Yeah. I mean, look, Mike Tyson had some famous rape lines.
Yeah.
But
he went to jail.
I'll fuck you and make you love me.
Yeah. And then he went to jail for it.
And he went to jail for it. Yeah,
that's a little different. That's a little different.
Well, the biggest news right now, unfortunately, is Jay-Z and Diddy are accused of assaulting a 13-year-old.
Sure.
Yeah.
But to be honest, nobody believed that this wouldn't touch a lot of very famous people, right? This whole milieu we find ourselves in wouldn't touch a lot of famous people. And all I can say when I saw it is, I never had to go to a white party. I didn't go to none of those parties.
No?
No. It never appealed to me. I'm not saying that everybody who did go was wrong, but I'm glad I ain't got a lawyer asking me to get my story together. I'm glad I get it. I just look here, man. When a motherfucker call himself Diddy, I can't fuck with him. This is not my thing. It's not my thing.
Well, I remember in our last interview you said you've never liked Diddy.
No, I never have.
That clip actually went viral.
I never have. But I've liked Jay-Z a great deal. I've never liked like there are people who do things because they know they can, and that's it. It had that bully mentality. There are people that do things that know they can. And here's the thing: it isn't whether you believe that Diddy did it or not. It's the silence from the people who work with him.
Oh yeah, I can't get a Diddy employee interview for the life of me these days.
Nobody. They won't say anything.
I know a lot of them actually.
They won't say anything.
They're not going to talk.
Now Jay-Z,
I like, think glad you my man, but no.
So
no, not right now.
That tells you a lot. When somebody who been at your party won't speak in your stead, won't say anything good to you, and everybody who does say something good later on say, I didn't mean it that way. Look, they got Diddy, R. Kelly, and Bill Cosby. They done f***ed around and indicted the 90s.
The whole 90s.
If you been on Nick at Night, you going to jail. They got the 90s.
The 90s are just out of here.
Yeah. The whole
legacy is gone.
If you was
just
on MTV,
throw the whole 90s away.
The 90s is in trouble. They indicted the entire 90s.
The entire 90s. All the biggest stars.
Right? I'm not even bullshit.
Yeah,
if you got a VHS tape, well, look for a summons coming up. Like, to me, it was like I like Jay-Z's response. I think that everybody is entitled to the presumption of innocence. I like that he said, take me to criminal court. Mm-hmm. I don't know what happened. I do know this, that when these things happen, one side says they should be believed just because they make an argument, and another side says that you have the presumption of innocence. My response and my answer to that is, I'm going to take the side of a man who's convicted in court, who is indicted in court. He has a presumption of innocence. It's your obligation and your responsibility to prove his guilt. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, look, Jay had a whole big response.
Yeah,
like a long paragraph. Yeah. This is the most Jay has ever commented. Yeah. I remember I was on the Piers Morgan show with Jaguar Wright.
Right.
She did all that nonsense. I was the only person that was sane on that show that day. Everyone else was going along with
the next day, Piers Morgan took that shit right back.
Took it right down,
sure
exactly.
Did.
But I was the one that was saying it's all nonsense.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he even put her on there. I was actually not.
But that's what he does. Piers
has been figuring out his way around.
Everybody's been figuring out their thing around, man. There is a level of salaciousness that works, and there are people who truck in it. This is the blogosphere, the internet, that space. It has a voracious appetite, and you got to out-top everybody else. But I do notice this: as soon as that shit aired, Piers Morgan came out and gave a full-throated rebuttal.
Well, yeah, because here's the thing. People don't understand this about lawsuits, because when you looked at all the Twitter comments, I always would see, well, if Jaguar Wright's right, if Jaguar Wright is lying, why hasn't she been sued? Why hasn't anyone sued her? You can't sue someone that lives in a U-Haul truck.
Right.
Okay, you can't. Right. But you can sue Piers Morgan.
You can.
You can do that.
Yes.
And Piers Morgan has money.
Yes.
That's why Piers Morgan when he
wasn't
saw that,
give it to Jay-Z.
Exactly.
So I just think that people make these assumptions and these assertions, and the it's almost a default position. Well, they must be telling the truth because they said it, or if they weren't telling the truth, this would happen. Ultimately, it's this: people's lives have been ruined by actions, and if those people have actually indulged in those things and participated in those things, there's a consequence for that. But there are people who have been indicted in the public space, and it hasn't been true. And so I think Jay-Z's tone was exactly. But see, I saw Puffy say the same shit, and then a video came out.
Yeah. Look, Tony Busby actually responded, and he says, regarding the Jay-Z case and his efforts to silence my clients, Mr. Carter previously denied being the one who sued me and my firm. He filed his frivolous case under a pseudonym. What he fails to say in his recent statement is my firm sent his lawyer a demand letter on behalf of an alleged victim, and the victim never demanded a penny from him. Instead, she only sought a confidential mediation. Okay, let me translate that statement.
Exactly.
A confidential mediation means a conversation about how much money she'll get before it goes to court.
Right,
So
exactly.
to say that she never demanded a penny from him is a complete lie
It's
because he's
lawyer
civil
speak.
lawsuit by definition.
It's lawyer speak.
Yes, it's lawyer speak trying to fool people.
Now let me tell you something. Now if Puffy would have done that to Cassie before she made the allegations, he'd be out right now. He should have paid that money early.
Oh yeah. Well, in his case, this was a real thing.
It was.
This wasn't when someone was 13 in the 80s and, you can't prove it on any level whatsoever.
Man, my thing is this. I have a problem with kids being sexually assaulted. I have a problem with women being raped. Look here. Look here. Like allegations of drugging women. I love pussy as much as the next man. I ain't gonna drug nobody to get it. I'm from the era when lies work. Remember that?
Baby, I'm gonna marry you.
Man, when you can lie against pussy, a roof ain't got shit on. I love you. A roof ain't got shit on. I love you. Just let me put the tip in. Like I'm not saying.
Lie.
I'm not saying.
I have never asked to put the tip in, and only the tip went in. I'm just saying that's just the reality.
I promise to pull out. It's some shit
I
you
feel
said.
like the woman when she says, "Okay, just put the tip in," she knows what's up.
Right.
She knows what's up.
I got 3 kids, and that was what's said every time. So
every time was put the tip in.
I have names for them. I promise to pull out. This should have been in a napkin.
Promise to pull out. Usually.
I thought it was gonna be on your chest. Wait a minute, hang on.
Well, Diddy's actually accused of obstructing justice, and
You're supposed to obstruct justice.
What do you mean?
I think that if you have enough means and money, see, isn't it like there are these nuances in the law. Tax evasion is illegal, but tax avoidance isn't.
Okay.
Somebody with means
You
and
can
money,
avoid but not evade.
right?
Which
Somebody
is kind of the
with
same
means,
thing.
It's not the same. It is the same thing. One, like if you got bread, you eccentric. If you broke, you crazy.
Right.
I don't think it's wrong for him. And I know a lot of people who have money who did what they said they were accused of. Trump did that shit. He still became president.
Right.
Okay, bread. There's a certain amount of money that you have that avails you to the nuances and the loopholes of the law. Loopholes were meant for rich people who did it to get away with it.
Right.
That's what they were meant for.
Well, he hasn't gotten away with it yet because all the times he tried to get a bail, he's been denied.
I think he'll get a bail, though.
You think so?
I do.
I don't think so.
I do. I think he'll get a bail.
I mean, in order to get a bail, he has to come up with some new piece of evidence that isn't there already.
And I think it's wrong that, here's the thing. The American justice system says that if you believe that somebody is the bail system was predatory in its nature. There's a dude that defrauded people, Bankman. He defrauded people of hundreds of millions of dollars. He
Billions,
got out.
actually.
Huh? Billions.
Yeah,
He got out.
Friedman, yeah.
He got out.
Well, until he violated it. They
Right,
said-
but he got out.
He got out initially, yeah. I think it was like a $250 million bail
Exactly.
package.
And he had to live with his parents, and he
Exactly.
violated. The bail system is designed so that we're going to make sure that you come to court.
Right.
That's all. It's not to be punitive. If you
Well, you
believe,
get the money back eventually.
if you come to court.
If you come to court,
But if
yeah.
you don't, you lose your assets.
Right. But you don't think that
I think
if Diddy had a chance to escape and it only cost him $30 million, I think he would totally do it. I know I would.
I think that's not the bail system's stated position. Is if you have a monitor on him, you can make sure that he's gonna bind himself over to court. He's had a lot of stipulations. I'm not gonna watch TV. Listen, I can hold 2 ideas in my hand, just like the conversation we had earlier. Mm-hmm. I think that I don't know how many of these things he did, but I believe that some of these things have merit. Now, they still have to prove they have merit, but he still have the presumption of innocence. And the presumption of innocence is that I can make this financial connection, I'll show up, and I'll go to court. If they take his passport and he has a bracelet, ankle monitor on,
yeah.
and they make sure that he even agreed to people living, to him paying people to make sure he's there. So this is becoming a different thing now. I think he has been problematic, but I also think that if he got the bread and meets these stipulations, he'd make the bail.
Well, apparently there's a whole bunch of escorts that are going to be speaking out on Diddy's behalf.
Yeah,
I'm sure male and female. It's going to be interesting in court. Let me tell you.
Let me tell you something. The fucking prosecutor coming out with the 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Nick Cannon got 800 kids and he ain't got 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Like, remember that 800 dildos? Like, I'm like, now women, no wonder my Amazon order is late. Puffy got all the dildos. I just think that no matter how salacious this is, and the problem is that we've all in the zeitgeist heard these allegations, saw the Cassie video, contrasting with his earlier statements of can't wait, that kind of shit. But he still has the presumption of innocence, and he still has the right to defend himself, and he still, I think, has the right, like anybody else does, if he can make sure that he goes to court and he provides enough assurances that it'll show up, I think he should be able to make bail, but I'm not a judge.
Meek Mill and Diddy seemed like they had a friendship over the years, but they even had the matching outfit, which looked crazy.
Sure.
But recently, there was a video of Meek Mill, and he was like, "No Diddy gang." It's interesting how you could sincerely be friends with someone and actually have a real relationship,
right? And
then when things go bad for them, suddenly you're clowning them along with everyone else.
That's as old as time?
Yeah, I mean, like,
that's as old as time.
Listen, me and you.
Right.
We've been friends for a while. You and I have both gone through our cancel cycles. At no point have either one of us piled on each other.
No. But here's the thing. Also, it's based on respect, not transaction.
Okay, so you think that Diddy and Meek Mill were
I don't know that. I can only tell you the parameters of my relationship with you. It is based on friendship, not transactional.
I agree.
I talk to you because I like talking to you. You're my friend because I like you being my friend.
Right.
It's not what I can get out of it. It's not what you can get out of it. So to me, I can't tell you the contours of somebody's relationship. But I do know when it's transactional, it's not substantive.
Yeah. Well, look, we'll see what happens. Ultimately, and I've said this publicly multiple times on different platforms, I'm still not totally sure what Diddy's being charged for criminally.
Me neither.
He's charged with a Rico, but he's the only person charged. So unless there's cooperating, unindicted co-conspirators, it's going to be a little difficult to figure out what exactly
and that's what
the crime
money
is. You can't be a one-man Rico.
That's what money does for you.
Boosie calls it a freako.
Yeah. Listen, I do know when sex workers got high. There are a lot of circumstances that I don't know how it's going to play out. I'll say this, that, and I think the Cassie video is foremost in, if a man did that to a woman I love, I would conspire to do something to him.
Right, but keep in mind that he is not being charged for the assault.
No, but it doesn't
past the statute of limitations. There was no criminal charges filed at the time. So you basically have to look at this situation. And if an army of escorts all come in and say, yes, we were paid to engage in sexual activities, but we were fine with it.
Right.
Yes, we took drugs because we wanted to take drugs. No one forced it on us. We even asked for it.
Right.
And yes, they provided it, but it was something we wanted to do, and we have no problems doing this. Nobody was raped. Nobody was trafficked. Nobody was coerced, and so forth. So what's going to happen when an army of people say that?
When you got bread, and when you got people, listen, you never get a chance to make you never get a second chance to make a first impression, right? And I think that most of the country saw that video and have a certain perspective in their mind.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that given new evidence and new factors, I have a hard time understanding what he was charged for too.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I don't think he's a foul dude.
Look, you could be foul, but are you a criminal that's deserving of life in prison?
Well, we got a president. So
you see what I'm saying?
I just think that when you have money, you're made people. There are different allowances made for you. So and I said this at the beginning, and I'll say it now. everybody's entitled to the presumption of innocence. It is wealthy people that can press that presumption.
Well, you and I were in contact throughout the election.
Right.
I remember when there was the Biden-Trump debate.
Right.
I called you and said Biden's going to step down.
Right.
You said no, he's not.
Right.
Biden stepped down about a week later.
Yes, he did.
So the election happened. Leading up to the election, I feel like Kamala's media team really dropped the ball.
Sure.
I was in contact.
I think Kamala's melanin team dropped the ball.
Okay. We'll talk about that in a second. So I was in contact with her media team. And we were talking about doing a Vlad TV interview.
I talked to them in your behalf, too.
Exactly.
Right.
Multiple people were talking to her about doing a Vlad TV interview. They passed. I remember I did a tweet that went viral and TMZ posted it. I basically said a few things. I said, based on the views, the most viewed interview she had was like 5 million views on Fox. So I said...
It was closer to 8 million, but okay.
Oh, was it closer to 8?
8.
Okay. When I looked at it, it was 5. It probably went up over time. I said that if I had a no-holds-barred Vlad TV interview with Kamala, it would have been her biggest interview of the campaign.
Probably.
I truly believe that.
Probably.
If I was able to do what I wanted to do, because ultimately her other interviews, All the Smoke, Shannon Sharp, were like 1 million views. Call Me Daddy, less than 1 million views. I mean, Andrew Schultz had a bigger Trump interview by himself. But what I really said was her not doing Joe Rogan could have potentially altered the election. Do you think it was that, though? I do think so. I think that because there was a few states that was kind of close. She could have flipped a few states.
Let me just... America has never elected a female president, ever.
Okay.
Ever. America has never, there have been very few, there have only been in our history, out of the almost 2,000 senators, there's only been 60 females. There's only been 2 black ones. There's never been a black female executive of a state. There's never been a black female governor. There have only been 3 black male governors who've been there.
I interviewed one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Westmore.
I don't think that it was her exposure. Even if you look at the contours of the election, she was very popular. I'm just not going to vote for you.
I actually disagree because people were saying that to me all the time. America's not ready for a black female president. And my response was always, America wasn't ready for a black male president either, but the right person came along. And it stopped being about race and everyone saw this was the right choice. Right?
I don't know if that's true.
You thought that America, when did Obama do his first term?
2008.
2008.
It's why I got my apartment in New York and still kept, yes, 2008.
2008.
Yes.
I mean, not that long.
Do you realize do you know what was at play then? The mortgage crisis had happened.
I think the mortgage crisis happened after he was elected.
The mortgage crisis happened.
No,
that's not true.
He had to deal with it. He had to deal with it himself.
True. The mortgage crisis.
It wasn't happening during the election.
That is not true.
Really?
The mortgage crisis happened, and John McCain said the pillars of the economy are strong. The foundation of the economy is strong. That's how bad. There had to be a series of sequential things that had to happen. The mortgage crisis was in shambles. You can Google it right now like you do everything else. John McCain said, oh, the economy's fine. It was so bad that then that's what happened. I think that America is equally as misogynistic as it is racist. And I think, matter of fact, I'm gonna start calling Trump Ike because he beat women. That's what. I don't think he would beat a man. I just don't. But I can't prove that because you can't prove a negative. But Obama, he was running during the election against John McCain. The mortgage crisis happened during the election, and I think the country went, you know what? Let's try something new.
I would just disagree with you on this. I feel that you had an actual superstar running for president, and it was obvious, regardless of what color he was.
No.
Obama was a star. He still is.
Obama is a star.
He was one of the best public speakers since John F. Kennedy.
He is one of the best but you know what else he has the advantage of? Being a man. He was a 6'2" man with a black wife and black children. He was an orator. Yes, he was a lot of things, but one of the things he was, and I can't determine how much reach that had, but he still was a man. There is something about the way this country views. Look at the demographics. Look at the way the Latin community voted. Look at the way the Asian community voted. Look at one of the things that they said, the exit interviews. They didn't know if she was strong enough. They didn't know enough about her. They didn't know.
Well, and that's because of the interviews, I feel. I feel the interviews she did were very short, because the whole point was Rogan said that she reached out, her people reached out to do an interview with him after they did Trump. He said, great, come on over. And her response was, well, we're not going to do 3 hours. We're only going to do an hour. We're not going to do it at your location in Austin like every other interview is done. We want you to come to our location, only do an hour. And he said no, as he should, because it's his format.
Sure.
He knows his audience. J.D. Vance ended up doing an interview, with Rogan as well. And, the Trump interview went ballistic.
Listen,
and it was shadow banned, and he still went ballistic.
She lost. I'm not. I think that America lost. But ultimately, it is this. Billionaires aligned with another white man. They did. All the billionaires. You couldn't get a union to endorse her. You couldn't get a newspaper to endorse her, who were owned by who? Billionaires, white billionaires. So their interests were at play. They won. And the thing I can say is this: I'm proud because I believe that black women, in my estimation, have always been the moral compass of this nation. I believe they made the right decision, and it is the first time that the right decision worked out wrong. But I also believe this: it is the most liberating thing that's happened to me in the last 10 years.
Oh, her actually running?
No, America's showing me exactly who it was.
Well, you spoke at the DNC.
I did.
And
we were, before I did an interview, I thought I might. Right.
Yeah. I remember we didn't talk about it because you weren't 100% sure, but you told me about it, and then like a week later you're on, and I was like, oh, someone I know is actually on stage right now, who I actually know is on stage at, the biggest stage for the Democrats right now. But ultimately, she didn't win.
She didn't.
Trump won, and this was essentially the biggest blowout in presidential history.
That's not true at all.
No, hold on. This is the biggest blowout since Obama blew out McCain.
Okay.
That was a bigger blowout.
That's like I'm the skinniest guy at fat camp. He won. He won. And he's been winning by larger margins, according to him, than he has. There's never been. I do find it interesting that we were worried about the integrity of the election, and now we're not because you got the results.
Right, because he won. Right.
We were worried
Obama did win by a larger margin.
Of course, it's not even historically close. It's not even. More people voted for him. About the same number of people voted for him last time as voted for him this time.
So less people voted for Kamala, is what you're saying.
Less people voted for the Democratic position. Yes.
Oh,
and so to me, I can't tell you why that is. But I can say this, that it is to our great lament that this nation will have an opportunity to get what it wants. And I'm proud of it. I hope that it gets what it wants. And I'll sit here and I'll never be happy. I'm not one of the type of dudes who wants to say, I told you so, but I've never felt more freedom.
Look, I voted for Kamala. I publicly announced it on Twitter. I have pictures of it.
Right.
I took my family with me so they could, actually see the voting process and so forth. So I'm not going, yay, Trump won.
Right.
I voted for Kamala. I wanted Kamala to win. Now my stock portfolio is happy that Trump won.
Mine too.
My Tesla stock is very happy that Trump won. But I still voted for Kamala because I felt that was the right thing to do.
I'm a 60-year-old wealthy black man. Rich, not wealthy, but rich black man. Nothing I voted for had anything to do with me.
Right.
I'm not going to get deported. I'm not going to have an abortion.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have my right. So I think that a society is great when people care about things that don't matter to them. America made a different estimation, and I have to accept that that's what has happened. But to me, I'm not going to agonize and I don't want for this nation what it doesn't want for itself. I think if people sit home, that's going to be their thing. I don't think there's all this noise made about black women and how they're going to sit back. I think black women are not unengaged. What they are is they have a level of acceptance now. I remember women, when I grew up, they had kids that would fuck up all the time, and they would always believe in them and argue for them and put up the house. And one day they accepted that this child is not going to be what they hope for it to be. That's what I think a lot of people, I'm going to be specific. That's what I feel about America. I think it'll never be, it is shown me who it is, and I accept that my idea or my desires for her will not be realized, and I'll just try to exist in this space and help the people who I can and just go along for the ride.
Well, Trump announced his cabinet picks. I actually interviewed two of them, which is interesting. So in the Department of Government Efficiency, which I think is a made-up department, right?
It is. That's
never existed before.
It is.
Is Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, who I interviewed.
Right.
A couple times, actually.
Right. Do you know my problem with those picks?
Why is that?
I think that when men lack empathy, that works great for the public space. It doesn't work great for the public space. Private space, men lacking empathy. Look what titans of industry did when they lacked empathy, when they were giving latitude over the government. Look at eugenics and the Heinzes and the Hershey's. I think that Elon Musk is a vacant, wealthy human being, uber wealthy human being. And I think you could tell by the way he treats the people that he's been in contact with that he lacks empathy. I think that is going to be a dangerous position for this nation to be in, and we'll see whether that is the case or not. But there are people who there is a decided lack of empathy that he has exhibited in all of his endeavors that they are touting that he'll bring here, and we'll see if the nation wants that when it gets it.
You know what was funny? On Thanksgiving, this was going around on social media. People are pointing out that Elon Musk has at least 12 children, but he spent Thanksgiving with Donald Trump.
Sure. People talk about how the wealthiest people on the face of the earth backed this guy. The wealthiest people on the face of the earth.
That's true, yeah.
How did you think she would win?
Well, you actually talked about Elon Musk. You said he is the chief at dispensing misinformation.
Sure.
You said when you're really, really rich, what do you buy? Media. And why do you buy it? Because you want to control the narrative. You want to be so rich that you tell people what to think. Instead of X's, it should be 3 Ks.
I agree with whoever said that is a fucking cipher. and nothing that I've seen disproves it.
Well, and then shortly after the election, you shut down your Twitter.
Yes.
Is that still the case?
Yes.
Okay.
Why would I? Listen, I lost what my perspective lost. That don't mean I checked out. I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to help you. I'm going to fight because I believe in it. I believe in a country that will look different, and we'll see. But I'm not going to help. I am so opposed to that man. I'm so opposed to that idea and perspective. I'm not going to do anything I think benefits him. Nothing.
Well, the other pick, who I interviewed as well, is Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yes.
Who is now the
He's
HHS
the fucking
secretary.
This is the thing that's funny to me. You mad at this nation is hilarious to me. You mad at a crackhead who got pardoned, but your health secretary does heroin.
He said it helped him in college.
I don't give a fuck what it is. He advocated for heroin. Elon Musk microdoses.
Right. He's also anti-vax.
I hope they get what they want. I want for you what you want for you. I don't want to see this country burn, but I hope that you actually get what it is you wanted. They're saying that they're going to do everything they promised, and we'll see.
Well, look, along with you, Gabriel Union, she shut down her Twitter. Don Lemon, Stephen King, Barbara Streisand, Jamie Lee Curtis, a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
Me personally, I feel like X or Twitter or whatever is definitely degraded after Elon took over.
What is better after he took over?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
So here's the thing. What has been better after he took over? What has been better after Trump took over? They've decided that this is what they want. I mean, you got a man offering people in Pennsylvania $1 million in some kind of iteration. It was formidable at best, no matter what happened. But just because I took a L don't mean I'm out to fight. I'll never do that. I'll never just quit. So I'm a liberal. I shouldn't say I'm a liberal. I'm a progressive. I believe that the best way forward for us is progressive notions and ideas. The places where we do the best is if you look at how black people live, and I said this before, in Minnesota as opposed to how they live in Mississippi, it is starkly different. Just because people are indifferent and apathetic don't mean I will be, and I will keep fighting to see if this country can start to chart a path forward that I agree with. But this is where we are right now, and we'll see what happens.
Well, you actually called out black Republicans who campaigned for Trump but got no seats after he was elected. Herschel Walker, Candace Owens, Ben Carson, Mark Robinson, Tim Scott, Byron Donalds, and Daniel Cameron.
Right. This is the funny thing to me. Remember when he was running for election and he said, if you don't vote for me, you need a head examined, but he had Tommy Hearns and Antonio Brown on stage with him, two niggas that need a head examined. It's so funny to me. Not one of those black people that was shot, they were carrying the water for him, got a cabinet position. They didn't get a secretary position. They couldn't even be the secretary of secretaries. And two of those people, damn a cabinet, they need to come out the closet. Like, I'm just saying, so black people for him are transactional. If he didn't do anything for powerful black people who are in a position of governance and he can actually use them, what do you think he's gonna do for people who are not powerful and who are black?
I mean, listen, Trump is definitely transactional.
Yeah, so
You've
we'll
seen
see
it over and over and over and over.
And for the world, literally, for a white guy in America, nothing is different. Nothing's different. For black people in America and brown people in America and women in America, we'll see what's different. But I'll take this man as his word. He's going to do what he said he's going to do, and it'll be an interesting 4 years.
Well, Dr. Umar Johnson challenged you, Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley, and Roland Martin to debate if the Democratic Party is the party of African people. And your response was pretty funny. You said, I accept Umar's challenge to a debate under one simple, small condition. We have it live in the auditorium of his school.
Right.
Me and my cornrows will be waiting.
Absolutely.
So, Dr. Umar Johnson started taking donations for this school 8 years ago.
Sure.
I actually interviewed him about it back in 2016. It was about to be open.
Everything's about to happen.
It's almost 2025. No school.
Listen, I don't know what this man, I don't know how you have a doctor without an office my point is this man called himself the King Kong of debate. And I pointed out to him, King Kong died fighting for a white woman, which is hilarious. He did.
He really did, though.
He did. He's hilarious to me. He can do what he does. I don't, he'll never be on my, I'll never put him on my platform, and so people can do it if they want to. I don't understand what he does, but he's entitled to do it. He don't move the needle for me one way or other. But I despise another man telling another man how to live and who to marry and all. It's just crazy to me. How the fuck are you? Well, I guess you got a lot of time to tell people how to live their life when your school ain't getting built. So.
And he still has like a little Cash App link on his Twitter profile, still asking for money.
I don't trust niggas with Cash App links. It's just my thing. It's just my thing. It's just my thing. And I don't trust the niggas that do trust it. So it's just my thing.
Joe Biden,
Mm-hmm.
after previously saying he wouldn't pardon his son, Hunter Biden, has now pardoned his son. Hunter Biden.
Good.
Now, look, I said this. I went on Twitter and it went somewhat viral. I said, stop giving Joe Biden a hard time. You would pardon your kid if you had the chance to do so.
Would you pardon your kid if you knew what they were planning to do to him? Look at the people. Look, this is people with this whataboutism. Stephen A. Smith does this all the time. This old whataboutism, and it's just the same. Donald Trump is going to pardon the people who beat the shit out of police officers on January 6th.
Oh yeah, he announced he's pardoning all the January 6th rioters.
The people who were the soldiers that he weaponized at his behest. He pardoned the people that he was in criminal alliance with. Joe Biden, he pardoned his son because he knew what would happen to him if he didn't.
What would happen to him?
I think that he would be the constant source of investigations, of harassment by the Justice Department. I think.
Oh, you think Trump would just go all out on him?
He said he would.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not. This ain't me. He said he would.
Yeah.
He said, day one, I'm getting my enemies, right? Right? So if I'm a father and I'm a petition to save my son, I'm going to do it. But for all these people who are making these tenuous connections, saying they're the same thing, which is like we lack no perspective. You think that a man who pardons his crackhead son is the same as a man who's threatening to pardon the people he weaponized. It's the same as the man who tried to steal the election. It's the same as the man who prompted people to steal the Capitol. Who is the same as the man who puts people in places so that he can profit off of it. He's selling fucking colognes and Bibles, and so those people are being disingenuous or obtuse at best. I would pardon my crackhead son too.
I did a poll recently, about a day ago on my Twitter account. I said, how much does racism affect your life? 2,000 people voted. The options are 100%, 50%, 25%, or 0%. Half the people voted 0%, but then 100% and 25% were tied for second. So some people feel that 100% of their life is affected by racism. 50% feel that it's not affected at all. If you were to answer this question, how much of your life is affected by racism?
Every day I walk out, I wonder what's going to happen to my son. My son he's a black male with Asperger's syndrome. And black people who have some kind of mental incapacity in some way are first people who are mentally or emotionally disturbed are the most likely to have a negative impact or negative reaction with the police. Plus you factor that in with him being a black man. I have black granddaughters and black women I love and I respect and want the best for. So when I measure that against the things that are important to me, I think one of the things that we keep getting conflated with that I want to make clear, the individual is what they prey on. They prey on it ain't doing nothing to me. I don't care about it to me. What about the people I love? My granddaughters live in Atlanta. They're going to have fewer freedoms. My daughters might want to have children or going to want to have children again. They're going to have fewer freedoms. My daughter was dealing with a health issue that black women in the southern region of the United States of America die or have disparate health effects more so than anybody in the country. So when you say how much does racism affect me, okay, I'm a 60-year-old black rich dude. How much does it affect the people I love? So if it affects the people I love, it does affect me by definition.
Yeah, I interviewed Tupac's biological father the other day, Billy Garland. And what he told me was interesting. We went to this whole story where his mother died because she was pregnant with twins and she wanted to get an abortion. She had a whole bunch of kids already, but abortions were illegal at the time. So she got like a nurse to come to her house, give her an illegal abortion. In the process of trying to get rid of one baby, they ended up puncturing the other baby. They didn't realize it was twins. And she basically didn't want to go to the hospital so she wouldn't get the nurse in trouble because the nurse would be probably charged.
She held it, which makes me pretty upset that she wouldn't go to the hospital. And I wish, as a 6-year-old, I had the common sense to dial 911.
What, you actually saw this?
I would see every day.
Oh.
In the bed, paler and paler. And the final thing is when she died, I saw him take the mattress out. The mattress was totally red from the blood she had lost. So you could blame the aunts and the grandmother for not making her go to the hospital, but I'm a 6-year-old. What do I know?
I know people who got pregnant by the wrong people when we were growing up, people that are in my space, whose parents, mothers, brought people over to abort the baby. I know a lady who kept the baby that was aborted in a jar under her bed.
Wow.
So when you say to me that how much I think that there are ways that they see the people that are important to me in such dehumanizing ways, how could I not say these things affect me? If you're that oblivious, then we live in different worlds. So
well, this is Tupac's grandmother.
Yeah.
So she died, and Tupac's dad watched her die in their house because abortions were illegal. And the reason why abortions are illegal is because of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Let's just call it what it is. Because he packed the Supreme Court.
The reason why abortions are illegal is because America decided in this election, or the reason that they're going to be these kinds of things that are going to exacerbate is because America decided that eggs were too high. And so they decided to stay home and see what would happen. And we'll see.
Well, during the election, Janet Jackson questioned Kamala's race.
Sure.
And you said it's a little ironic to question whether someone is black while breathing through the nose of a white woman.
I mean,
Y'all said that Janet had malicious intent when she questioned Kamala's race.
I do. I believe that. I believe that somebody who changes their nose, which is we're known for our nose and our lips and our skin, right? When you change every element of that, there are some that might believe you have a problem being black. But then to just assail somebody else's blackness when it's obvious, it ain't an original black nose in the Jackson family. Not one. Don't nobody look like they did on the Jackson 5.
Well, not the kids, but the mom. The mom.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody who got money looked like they did in the pictures. And even that...
Did Tito have a nose? No, I think Tito's nose.
I don't know. He might have been there. Even that was a joke. Like, to me, you can assess what my motives were, but I told a funny joke. It was funny.
Do you think that Michael Jackson wanted to be white?
I think that
By the way, have you ever met Michael Jackson?
Of course.
You have?
I have.
What was that like?
Meeting, I think Michael Jackson is among the most artistically gifted beings that ever walked the face of the earth.
I agree.
So it was like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I watched him be a young black kid in Gary, Indiana, and die an old white woman in the valley. I mean, It's just so I don't know. What do you? I think that it's funny because what people do is they make all kinds of excuses. All I know is everything black about him was different.
What do you mean?
In the end, everything black about him was different. His skin, his nose, his hair, all of it. He didn't look anything like the pictures of him as a kid. And it wasn't him getting older. It wasn't him less sun, more sun. It was clearly done in a plastic surgeon's office. So I don't know what he felt like.
I mean, look, his mother, after he died, said that he had vitiligo and he didn't want to look like a spotted cow. But here's the thing. He didn't have to go white. He could have just gone brown.
Yeah.
Right? Just cover the white spots with brown makap and stick to your original color, right?
Did his nose have vitiligo? I mean, it's I'm not gonna speak ill of the dead. I think we all know that he looks different than his pictures.
Now, of course, you could say, well, he burned his hair during the Pepsi commercial, but
yeah,
you could have gotten You don't have to have bone straight hair, afterwards.
I think that he looks different. Everything about him that were Afrocentric features was gone.
True.
Now, whatever that means to people is what it means.
Yeah, listen, I feel you. And I feel like he was one of the early entertainers to really go under the knife and really do the whole surgery thing before they really perfected it.
Yeah, I mean, how everybody got their nose? Nobody got their original nose. Like, nobody. Nobody has their original nose.
I think except for Tito. I think Tito's the only one.
That I don't know what that means.
Well, look, when you have a brother like, I'm actually looking at pictures like Tito, because I interviewed Tito, and yeah, Tito has the same nose.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess when you have a Michael Jackson in your family, it might be natural to try to emulate him just because the star is so bright.
I think that they didn't want to look black. You think they want a natural family. And none of those things negate how talented they were. But it is disingenuous to talk about another one of the black ones when you're breathing through the nose of a white woman.
Well,
I mean, Janet didn't look like Penny at all. And I'm like, what the fuck did they have in that iron?
Penny looked very different. And Penny was a pretty girl.
She was.
Yeah. It's not like
Janet's a pretty girl. But it's you're assailing somebody else's blackness when you got Elizabeth Taylor's nose. That's crazy.
Well, you, Steve Harvey, and Cedric had a roundtable discussion at one point. And Steve Harvey talked about the speculation that he, you, and Cedric mistreated Bernie Mac.
Sure.
And what Steve said was Bernie was a special dude. So, when I hear stuff about us and I hear stuff about the dissension, I really don't know what they're talking about because the thing about Bernie was a man's man. So when somebody say they treated Bernie like shit, that was impossible. This dude right here was Chicago South Side to his core in blood. You mistreat this dude right here, there's a problem that you're going to have instantly. That was an impossibility. This was a man's man. Is that pretty accurate?
I didn't see one thing. Now, me and Bernie hung out together more. Like, Sid is one of my dearest friends now. But because Sid and Steve were on the show at the time, they would, they obviously, would be in closer proximity a lot of the times. And me and Bernie would be, but never once did I see anything. When I read some of the things that people were alleging, it was weird to me because I was there the whole time. So I think some of it is folklore, some of it may have been beyond my purview, but when I talk to Sid and Steve, and when I even talked to Bernie before he passed, it was one of our most proudest accomplishments of the historical nature of that tour, and we were all proud of each other and supportive of each other, and happy to have been a part of it.
What do you think was your funniest Bernie Mac moment?
Bernie used to wear colors that no one ever saw before. So we would wait at the elevator to see. Bernie had colors that weren't even the crayon book. And we were like, we were at the I forgot, it was the Four Seasons in Houston. And I gotten in, I was asleep, and we had those rooms with the parlor in the front room. And I hear somebody come in my room, and I go, "Who is that? Nigga, who is that?" I like, "Nigga, who the fuck is this in my room? Who the fuck is in my room?" I mean, you better get the fuck out of my room. We both go to the door with pistols in our hand. It was me and Bernie.
Wow, this is a real story. You didn't recognize his voice. I swear to God,
that's a real story.
You didn't recognize his voice, though.
No, because I was like, you don't expect somebody to be in your room. Man, we were arguing, both came to the door with pistols in our hand. It was him, and then we started laughing. Yeah, that was a hilarious moment.
Who was I talking to who told me the pistol story about you? We called you. Who?
Yeah.
Who was it? I'm trying to remember who it was.
I don't know.
Okay, so I was with somebody, and they're telling me how they were at the airport one day and saw you getting arrested for bringing a gun to the airport.
I did. I got arrested.
We called you. You're like, yep, that's what happened.
Yeah, I got arrested the day before they announced the pickup of the Hughleys because I was playing a gig in Westchester, Scarsdale. I was playing a gig in Scarsdale. And I'm going through JFK, and I had my pistol in the bag. And my road manager was supposed to take the pistol, but back then they had the metal detectors in front. You had to go through the metal detectors before you went to the airport.
This is pre 9/11, by the way.
Pre 9/11.
Yeah.
So I had this guy grabbed my bag. He's going through the airport. It goes off. The police arrest me. I'm at Central Booking. It is the Saturday before, because the upfronts were on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, shit, I'm gonna go to jail. It was so funny because they took my shoestrings out of my shoes and like.
Oh, they were preparing you for jail for real. Okay.
They thought I was like
hang yourself or something.
I kill myself. Like I'm gonna do a day. And I remember I was in the Central Booking. They left my cell open and they served food. And I was like, man, I ain't eating this shit. And I was in the cell. Anthony Mason from the New York Knicks was in, and the police said the guard said, hey. I said, nah, man, I ain't hungry. So I bought everybody that was in the jail. I bought them all pizza, like I said, you know. And I remember this gay dude came to me, do you want some spaghetti? I'm like, nah, nigga, I don't want no goddamn spaghetti. If you don't get the fuck out of here.
Do you want the spaghetti?
Do you want some spaghetti? No, motherfucker, I don't want no goddamn spaghetti. Do you know, so they left, so I made bail. I go to Central Booking. It was at 9 o'clock at night. On a Saturday, they had jail. I'd never seen that shit before.
Huh.
The judge is like, well, you know, people, you know, all these, because there had been all these people who would try to come through the airport and they had guns and all that kind of stuff. And they, like, people aren't taking our laws serious and we're going to have to impose significant bail. And she said, $1,000. I was like, nigga.
I got that on me.
Get everybody out. So I got out. I go home. I'm talking to my manager, Dave Becky, and I'm talking about ABC, and they're picking up. They said, no, man, nobody ever heard about it. I land at 6. ABC calls at 8. At 10, we back on a plane to go back to New York to get the show picked up. Huh. And my manager, Dave Becky, like, nobody's going to hear about that. And when we were at LAX at Delta Airlines, my face was in all the TVs.
You were watching the screens.
And I'm doing all these interviews, and I go to Fox News, and they weren't as crazy as they were that time. I said, so what's with the gun at the airport? I'm like, God damn. And it was a dude named Murray Richmond who said, I said, man, I can't, you know, he said, because it was a Class D felony. If you had a gun, it was a year for every bullet you have in the pistol. And I had a Walther, yeah. So I had I had 1 in the chamber and 7 in the clip. And so he said, give me $30,000 and you'll never see jail. And I gave him a check for $30,000.
Don't worry, Murray.
Don't worry, Murray.
There we go.
Murray Richmond.
Murray Richmond, yeah, the lawyer.
This motherfucker came to court months later with a OJ didn't do it tie on. I'm like, hey, man. I stayed at the Helmsley Hotel. I go to court. We get there at 8 o'clock. At 8:05, 8:10, we was walking out, and the judge apologized to us.
Apologized to
that
you.
Motherfucker said, yeah. And then later on, I saw him on trial with DMX. Like he was representing.
Oh no,
DMX.
he was representing all the rappers.
Yeah.
I think Jay-Z, everybody.
Said, man, give me $30,000, you'll never see jail. And he said, only broke motherfuckers go to jail. I said, wow.
I like this guy.
He said that to me.
Well, I just want to touch on this with Robin Harris before we get off the topic.
Yes.
Because Faison Love is a regular on my show.
Yeah.
And he talked about how he didn't like Bernie Mac at first because he felt he was imitating Robin Harris. And, you know, Faison was a huge fan of Robin and they were friends and so forth. Yeah. But I guess they were working on some project and, you know, Faison was kind of being sort of standoffish and so forth. And he said that Bernie walked up to him and said, look, man, you ain't got to respect me, but you're not going to disrespect me.
We all did a TV show. And before we did the TV show, the producers wanted me and Bernie to be brothers in the show. And Bernie's like, well, we got to sit down and talk because we got some shit to talk about. So he put me and him in the room, and we hashed it out. And it was really some comedian bullshit. And he told me something I always remember. He said, you ain't got to respect me, just don't disrespect me. I said, you motherfucker.
Sure.
And that was that.
You ain't gotta like me, but you ain't gonna disrespect me. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
It was rough for Bernie because when Robin did the first house party, and then Bernie did the second one,
Mm-hmm.
and me and Robin were not close until 2 months before he died. And I remember his Bebe's kids. If you listen to Bebe Kids, I was the one who introduced him.
Bebe's Kids. You talking about the cartoon or the actual?
There was
skit?
an album called Bebe's Kids.
Yeah,
Robin
right.
has Bebe
Yeah,
Kids.
his
That's
routine
my
about
voice.
it. Oh, okay.
Because even though we didn't like each other, I loved it. He didn't like me, and I didn't like him because I thought he would just do disrespectful shit to comedians. Like he would take you go to Comedy Act Theater, and he would do 30 minutes an hour before he bring you on. Like for me, if the show started at 9, Robin would bring me on at 9:25. It was over at, it started at 9. He'd bring me on and he'd be over at 11:30. He'd bring me on 11:25.
5 minutes before everyone went
Man, he
home.
would do it all the time. And I was determined, so we didn't, and then when we got to know each other, we really liked each other, respected each other. And he was doing the album at the Birdland West, and that was my joint. And I was the only one there, and I said, I'll do it. And I introduced him. And we were close after that. Then a couple of months after that, he died.
But I can tell you this, out of all the people, the 1,000+ people I've interviewed over the years, Robin Harris is the only comedian I know that actually made people throw their outfits away.
Yeah.
Based on how badly he would clown them on stage.
Yeah.
I remember John Sally said he had a pink suit.
Mm-hmm.
He walked in. Robert has a, look at this tall Pepto-Bismol bottle up in here. He just, it went on. John said he went home and threw his suit away.
Back when I first wanted to do comedy, man, this is '87, and I'm just gonna go to comedy. I go to see Robin Harris. I think I tell the story. I got on a pink outfit, all right, pink shirt, linen, pants go with it. And I walk in, and Robin Harris said, "Look at that tall bottle of Pepto-Bismol." Glad I got up. I had rented a Rolls Royce too. I walk outside in Lamert Park. I get in my Rolls Royce. I drive back to Central City. I throw that outfit in the garbage.
I saw him do it to Eddie Murphy. I saw him doing the Wayans brothers. I saw him do it to if you was big, he did that to you. They say he made the mountain come to Muhammad. All of the stars and all of the agents came to the Comedy Act Theater, which Michael Williams started, because Robin was the center of, he started the beginning of what would become this explosion of black comedy. Robin
Really?
Harris.
You would put Robin Harris at the epicenter of that?
There's no question.
Wow, I've never heard this before, but obviously you know.
Of course.
Wow.
There's no question he started. And the only reason that Russell Simmons got Def Jam is because Michael Williams, who had the Comedy Act Theater, wouldn't do it.
Huh.
He thought it was very short-sighted at the time, and this is not me speaking out of school. If Michael had have done it, it would have been a different thing. And that comedy exposure started in the West at the Comedy Act Theater, not in New York, but because because Michael didn't do it, Def Jam got on, and the Comedy Act Theater was kind of a replica history. But Robin Harris started this comedy explosion.
Hold on, I'm going to see if I can FaceTime Russell Simmons real quick and ask him this, because this is actually an interesting question.
Yeah. And while you're doing that, let me answer.
Russell, what's good?
Just rolled over. How you doing, Vlad?
I'm good. Hold on. I got D.L. Hughley here.
I think I'm giving up meat and I'm coming to Bali.
A good choice.
I'm not doing either of them, but I still love you. I was telling him that when Robin Harris was the center, the epicenter of black comedy. He was the Moses. It could have started at the Comedy Act Theater, but Michael Williams was so short-sighted, he didn't get it, and you did. And that's why Def Jam became the thing that it was.
Robin was the reason that we did Def Comedy. And he's the inspiration. I've seen some comedy shows, and it was just starting to come into my concept. I wasn't as focused on it as, of course, Bob Sumner was. But then I went and saw him in Crenshaw. On Crenshaw, I was like, oh,
Comedy
shit, I got to do a show. He was so good that when I left, I was determined. HBO was laughing. We were like at our ideas, and everybody was laughing at the idea of the show. But I was very determined, and Stan and I both, of course, right? And eventually, we were lucky enough to do a show, and then ended up. Eddie Murphy recommended Martin.
Yeah.
I was going after Eddie, after Robin, and I went to Eddie's house. And he was like, you know, Eddie, when you go to his crib, he play with the barbells, right?
Yeah.
His waist looking at me like, nigga, you pump ass nigga. Are you fucking kidding me? You think I'm gonna work for you? And, you know, he's like, I'm gonna do what? Like, nah.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Do you remember when?
Like, you know, he wasn't disrespectful, but I'm saying the way he said, me? Like,
Yeah.
I'm a host of comedy.
And Russell was the one who saw it. Michael Williams didn't. He didn't get it. It all. He went to Comedy Act Theater. Michael didn't get it, and Russell immediately got it.
Well, there
And
you go.
Robin Harris was the Moses of black. If Robin Harris begat all these great comics.
I learned something new today.
See?
I learned something new.
He
See?
opened the door for us in the regard that he was so big. It was like, you know, I had this conversation with these young rappers, and I feel really bad. So I'm glad you're saying this, because it could turn out, and it does a little bit. People don't remember. They remember all these giant superstars. They know D.L. Hughley. They know, you know, Martin and Chris, and, you know, they know all the big stars, right? They don't know Robin in the same way that rappers don't know DJ Hollywood.
Yep.
You know, there wouldn't have been no rap
Yeah.
records without Hollywood. Without the wood, there wasn't no rap records.
Do you remember what you told me one time?
And I see these stories, huh?
You remember what you told me one time? I was like, man, something. And you said, man, you got to stop being so hard on yourself. You talked to me for like an hour. And I was like, oh, man, I didn't get this right. I got that right. He said, man, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. And you talked to me for an hour. An hour. And I was like,
Well, that was a long time ago.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. It's this and that. And they said, man, you need to get the fuck up and act right. You know what you're doing. You a bad motherfucker. You watch what I tell you. That's why whenever I can't say what somebody else's relationship with you, but I know, I'm like, all I know is this, the nigga I know, that's, nobody ever takes time out to see that somebody wants to be something and nurtures them anymore. That just doesn't happen anymore. And so I'll always remember that.
Let me say this. I just saw a commercial. I don't play on Instagram lately. It's a dangerous place. It hurts your heart.
It does.
Your heart. The amount of pain that's being delivered to black men, especially men who have a chance to maybe change society and are threats to our society. And I feel, as I watch them fall, heartbroken. So I look at things that I see. I saw this commercial with 50 Cent and Jay-Z for Reebok. I remember how I looked at it like it was nothing, because I was so busy selling hundreds of millions of dollars in sneakers. We were changing the world. And they had that commercial that was hot as fire. I just seen it just now. It's like fire. I mean, unbelievable. 50 and Jay-Z camaraderie in building with G-Unit and Rockefeller in a commercial that was aired nationwide and a lot, maybe even Super Bowl. So there was a big economic shift in that business because of that one commercial. And they took it like it was nothing, because it was the way we were moving. You know, when 50 and Jay-Z came together to change and get 10,000 black men out of jail to the Rockefeller drug lord rally, Hillary Clinton came and a bunch of people came. And when I promoted that rally, not one soul came to see none of those political figures, but over 150, maybe 200,000 people came to threaten the governor and shift the way we thought about those laws, and then eventually we negotiated a deal. There was such a growth and partnership and camaraderie in hip-hop, and the number of people who were active leaders, that it was unbelievable. And what they could have done and what they could still do today if they worked together and if they loved each other, it would be a phenomenal political force and social force for us especially as some of them are speaking about positive content. So it's just disturbing to me. So I'm just sharing that. I probably shouldn't be talking about
Well, I tell you what, you'll always hold a place in my head that is unassailable, and I think
Thank you.
I mean, it's goofy that you don't eat meat, but okay, I'll forgive you for that. But here we go.
Suffering of 200 billion animals are made to be born into suffering. Not born, but made to be born.
Okay.
Poisoned.
Right.
So they can poison you, destroy the planet. Number one, cause of global warming. And
you're going to do this again? You do this every time, Russell.
Cancer, number one cause of all the sickness, and the amount of, I don't know, you eat whatever the fuck you want, nigga.
Yeah. See, it always comes to this. It always comes to this. I talk about how much I love him and respect him. You eat whatever you want, nigga. Hey, listen, me and Vlad are going to get a steak after this. I just want to. See that? It always resorts to that.
You get to pick the cow in this restaurant, actually.
It always resorts to this.
It does.
Fuck you, nigga. Wow. I was just telling people how wonderful you were. And now you ruin it by cussing me out because I'm having a hamburger.
I'm going to teach meditation. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to go teach meditation.
Go ahead, do that. Hey, warm the grill up. Yeah, that's how it started. And that's black comedy. He was the linchpin of it. But Michael Williams, who could have, I mean, it all started at the Comedy Act Theater. And so he wasn't, at that time, I don't think he had the foresight. And because that came to him, he could have done it. He just didn't.
I learned something new today. Well, Katt Williams talked about why he went off on Club Shay Shay.
Sure.
He said, I was trying to make this safe place for black actors and comedians where the politics and the hierarchy and the casting couch didn't apply. My whole career I was trying to do good black business that you could be proud of, and it was always stopped. Do you think that was the reason?
I tell you what, I've known Katt a long time. He always, I think Katt looks at life the way he plays golf. Katt, we play golf all the time, right?
Really? Okay.
And Katt, I would go, hey, Katt, the hole is this way. He go, I know, nigga. And he would swing this way, and the ball would go straight. Like, I'm not even lying.
He would swing the opposite way.
He would swing the opposite way, and the ball would go straight. I'm like, how the fuck? And he would do it so much, it would annoy me. I thought it was, I like, well, how the fuck is he doing this? It would look like it was going out of bounds. When he talks about how, and it would be straight down the fairway, and he would always put it in. Like, I'm like, how the fuck is this dude doing this? I think his perspective on life is the same way, where he looks like he's doing a thing that it ain't. And I've seen him do things. There are 3 or 4 dudes I've seen do things that they would never talk about doing, where they've given money or given opportunity or changed things.
I've heard this over and over again, from Lunel to Beanie Siegel to everyone. Boosie.
He's done things. Him and George Lopez have done things that you would never hear about. That whenever those dudes say anything, I'm like, these dudes are as solid a human beings that I've ever met. And even though I didn't have the kind of interaction with him that he did, the kind of conversations he did with some of the people he talked about, I've always known him to be a stand-up human being who was always concerned about more things than him, and he wanted to make it better for a lot of people as fast as he could.
Well, he also explained why he dissed Diddy, and that was because of Tupac. He said, when I was a young man, Tupac was my favorite artist. I loved Tupac, and I felt like we were kindred spirits. So if I hear you're responsible for knocking my dude off, I don't give a fuck what job I end up being in. I don't care how things go. If I can get a way to get you, that's what I'm all about. I just don't like you walking around scot-free because you a demon, and I know demons are powerful, but I know why they're powerful. It's cold spiritual warfare going on out here in the real world. And part of my job is not lose focus of that.
I believe he believes it. I believe he believes it. He's a good man. You have all these conversations with people who say all these things. All I know is we laughed a lot. He amazed me a lot. And he hit a golf ball in a way that no human being. I was like, oh.
We still got to play, man. I'm getting better. We got to play.
Yeah, now we got to play. And we would do it at Calabasas. And I'm like, how the fuck is he doing? It was like a trick shot.
Oh, Calabasas Country Club, he did that. Okay.
Yeah, all
That's
the time.
That's a tough course, too.
I don't know how many times, we played a bunch of times, but I don't know how many times I saw him hit a ball out of bounds. And every time it looked like he was going to. And after a while, like, hey, motherfucker, go ahead and we'll see. And he did it every time. So when you assess the way he looks at the world, you get,
it's like golf.
It's like he hits a golf ball.
Well, just today they found the guy who killed the CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson. His name is Luigi.
Yeah.
Italian's got to hold
like
this
Mario
L.
Brothers, Super Mario
Like
Brothers.
Mario Brothers, right? Italian's got to hold this L today. Sorry. I love you guys. I love the food, but today you guys are holding the L.
I think that the sad thing about that whole thing is a man died in the streets of New York and nobody gave a fuck.
What do you mean?
When that man got killed, there was a deafening silence from America because nobody gave a fuck. And I think that industry is a case study in indifference, and I think the response to the CEO's death was just like his response to his customers. I think that people, I think that it's hard to feel sorry for the CEO of an insurance company when so many people are having disparate health outcomes because of the industry standard in that business.
Well, yeah. The response was a bunch of corporations took the pictures of their CEOs off their websites. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And wouldn't it be prudent if you know that what you're doing is so fucking foul? Don't you think you would change the way you taking your pictures down and higher price? It's so bad. Flow higher personal security, motherfucker. See, there was just a lack of all you saw. If you watch any of the newspapers, any of the stories, it was about how Americans were basically saying, "Good, I guess now we know karma is a pre-existing condition."
Karma is a pre-existing
This dude's
condition.
job.
I know you said this on stage.
Yeah, this dude's job was to deny, and defend.
Right, because wasn't there like there was something where they were trying to limit the amount of anesthesia time for operations,
Yes.
but they stopped doing that right after the murder?
Yes, because it was so. Our decisions are not made. Our health decisions are not made by people, men and women who went to the finest medical schools in the country and then studied at hospitals. Our decisions for a decade, our decisions, health decisions, are made by a dude who went to a seminar at a Courtyard Marriott. You know, are you a doctor? No, but I did go to stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Well,
it is, and I think people are angry about it because you don't even. I think the reason it took the cops as long as it did, they had a picture of this dude, they had backpacks. Like, I think that there is a dissatisfaction with our interaction with the insurance companies that was palpable then.
well, I mean, but there's also an eat the rich kind of mentality that's always gone on.
But not even eat the rich. These motherfuckers take your premiums. Then when you call to get it, they act like you shitting on them for trying to get a claim accepted from an insurance company is trying to get closure from your ex. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'll be honest. I've never had problems with my insurance.
Then
I've
you're
had insurance
rare.
most of my life.
Then you're rare. Really?
I think
most
you had problems
people,
collecting from your insurance company. Really?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm just being honest. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying me
It's
personally, I've never experienced
always
it.
something. It's always, well, we don't cover this and it didn't happen and how come this and my mother, my father, me, like all of it.
I mean, but Obamacare made a huge difference.
Obama, it didn't.
Because of pre-existing conditions.
It didn't. Pre-existing conditions is just living. Nowhere else but America. And America wasn't even, insurance companies didn't even function like that till the Reagan administration. They weren't even like that. If you look at United Healthcare, they have doctors they didn't pay, right? Those doctors went into bankruptcy. They bought those doctors' office. They have pharmaceuticals. They have Medicare and Medicaid. They're everything. Pre-existing conditions are, you could have gotten exposed to COVID and now you have a respiratory. That's pre-existing condition. You could, hey, listen, this dude, unfortunately, I think indifference is a pre-existing condition too. I think that ultimately we are a nation who a lot of people have had these interactions with the health, if you look at how many people said their cancer treatment were denied. They estimate that 45 to 50,000 Americans die every year because of lack of insurance and delays by insurance. 50,000 people.
That's crazy.
And they enrich themselves by doing it. Them cheap motherfuckers, when he died, know what reward they put up? $10,000.
$10,000.
Look it up, $10,000.
That's crazy.
$10,000. And their stock went up.
Right. Don't you own some of their stock?
I was trying to sell it. I was.
But it went up.
I was trying to sell it. I'm like, fuck this shit. I can't be involved in this. And my finance guy went, I wouldn't.
I would keep it.
Yeah,
but
but
keep the stock.
It's horrible. It's insidious.
Well, we have reached an interesting milestone in hip hop. Drake, who lost the battle to Kendrick, is now suing UMG and Spotify over the popularity of Not Like Us.
Right.
And he feels that it's affected his career and his business. And so
But he also said that they artificially manipulated, like they
boosted the numbers.
Okay, and the only reason you would know that because they did it with you, right?
They're boosting your numbers.
Right.
Right.
The bottom line is, that was the most Karen shit I've ever seen. That's the most Karen shit I've ever seen.
Imagine if Biggie sued Tupac for allegations about him sleeping with his wife.
Let me ask you something. Before I'd have sued you about hurting my career, I'd have sued you for calling me a pedophile.
Right. Imagine if Jay-Z sued Nas for calling him a homosexual.
Right. But this is the province. This is why I think what Kendrick did to Drake, it was like that Milli Vanilli shit. It was like all of a sudden you weren't what we thought you were, and you prove it by Milli Vanilli. The mics went off and they were lip syncing. This, you try to sue a dude because he said something you didn't like. Only a white dude is going to call the police. Because this nigga threatened me. All right, it was the most Karen shit I've ever seen.
Well, but what's interesting is that he sued everyone except for the guy that called him a pedophile.
Yeah.
He didn't sue Kendrick.
Because he couldn't.
Wouldn't you say that'd be the first person he sued?
Exactly.
But he didn't.
He didn't.
I asked Tony Yayo this question, and he said no. But do you think that Kendrick ja-ruled Drake?
I think that I've never seen anybody artistically, and I said this before, meet a moment quite like that. Like, when he was talking about ain't no big number 3, it's just me. Like, at the time he said it, that wasn't true. But he knew something we didn't. He's on a whole different, he's hitting a zenith that I very rarely see artists hit.
Yeah.
And it's a creative, he made LA remember who it was.
Yeah, no, I remember I was talking to Edie from the Outlaws the other day, and he said something interesting. He said, since Snoop, Kendrick is the first one that really made everyone think that LA gang culture is cool again.
But even, he just makes you proud even the way that everybody talks like us and walks like us and dresses like us and acts like us, he made us remember who we were. And I think that he, the whole coast, and it wasn't just black culture, it was like the shit that he wore, that Willie Javara dude, man, like us all, he made, even if you didn't live here, live in LA no more, he made you, and you grew up there, you're proud to be from there.
No, listen, he put Mexican rappers, like
he put local
guys like Lefty Gunplay, who I interviewed.
I saw the interview with Gunplay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
When he was talking about how he didn't, it's so funny. Everybody's so influenced by our culture. So influenced by it. Whether they like us or not. They're so influenced by our culture. It's an interesting thing, but you can't have LA without Crips and Bloods and Vatos.
Yeah.
It's like this whole thing that's just ours that he illuminated in a way that made everybody fuck with it.
No, GNX I thought was a brilliant album. And the first time I heard it, I'm like, okay, this is like a mixtape. It's like a love letter to the LA underground.
Yeah.
He's putting a bunch of rappers that most people have never heard of
Right.
and so forth. But the more you listen to it, the more like, nah, this is actually a serious piece of art right here. The way he's incorporating these other guys is actually low-key brilliant.
Man, look. The
I
first
like
time I ever saw somebody Crip Rock and I didn't care. Like, I was like, okay.
Right. No, listen, I would say this is better. GNX is better than his last album.
I would too.
Yeah.
But he's hitting a zenith, and I think you very rarely see moments like that. And I think Drake sees it too.
I mean, yeah.
Now, what sense does it make if your argument is real that the biggest commercial piece of business, they would damage that for a dude they didn't like? That didn't. Kendrick didn't make it. Is not going to make it. Hasn't made it at the time. Hadn't made as much money for Universal as he had.
Yeah.
By far, he was one of their biggest artists.
Right.
So they gonna fuck all that up to make his album big for what?
Yeah, man, it's conspiracy. It's a
For what?
conspiracy theory. I don't believe it. And if they boosted Kendrick's number, they've been boosting his numbers
Yeah.
as well. So that just is what it is.
You fucked with a dude when he was coming into an artistic zenith.
Yeah.
You fucked with the dude at the wrong. I have very rarely seen artists hit a artistic zenith like that at a moment where everybody's looking.
I mean, yeah, then you followed up with performing at the Super Bowl. And you know he's going to perform that song there. I almost think that Drake is suing Universal to prevent Not Like Us from being performed at the Super Bowl.
I think that even if he didn't do it, they would find a way to do it. Like, even if look, the bad thing for Drake is now is fucking HBCU homecoming season just passed. So, they played that shit everywhere. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm driving down the street, fucking Heinz has mustard. This thing's everywhere. This thing is everywhere.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you, man. Listen, and a lot of people were upset. Oh, Lil Wayne is not performing the Super Bowl. I'm like, listen, the Super Bowl is not a local show. It's not a New Orleans show. It's not a Louisiana show. On that day, it's the biggest sporting event on the planet.
They've had 15 Super Bowls in New Orleans.
Yeah.
At one point, Lil Wayne was the biggest star in the world.
Yeah.
Why not then?
Why not then?
Why now?
Yeah.
And I think what happened with Dre and Snoop, because they did it at the Super Bowl here.
Yeah, in LA,
everybody.
yeah.
But the Usher ain't from Vegas.
That's true.
So if you have it at the fucking, if you have it in Pasadena, who the fuck they gonna get? Troop? Whatever. Who the fuck they gonna get? If they have it at the Detroit, in Detroit, who they gonna MC Breed? Who the fuck? Like that's not how it goes.
Yeah, man, listen. I think that Kendrick deserves it. He is the artist of the moment right now. It's undeniable. Artistically, you're right. He's at a zenith, and he's not letting up. Dropped an album out of nowhere and went number one.
And then everything you say to him, he answers.
Yeah.
Everything. Like he ain't got an album before the album.
Boom, here's now.
Come on, stop it. Just leave it. Look here. Leave that dude alone.
Yeah.
Just walk across the street. Drake should do an album called Caught a L, nigga.
Caught a L.
He should. I mean, you did.
Caught a L, caught a L, caught a L. We all,
Everybody, we all saw it.
Yeah.
But but then when you go, how caring is it that I'm gonna tell the police on you?
But do you think, once again, I don't think you answered the question. Do you think he got ja ruled? When I say this,
I don't.
No, when I say this, listen, obviously Drake has a catalog that he could tour off of until he's 90 years
Right.
old. He's got millions of fans. He could do sold out tours and everything. But when I say ja ruled, what it means is that somebody else came in and said, nobody is going to check for your new music because of what I just did to you. You could still, your catalog is your catalog, but your new stuff, people aren't going to check for it the way they were checking for it before.
I think it isn't. It is that whole idea of me being one of the baddest motherfuckers in the game is eroded. I think young girls are always gonna see, like people. He has so much music, everybody gonna see him. But it's what it did to his idea of himself. He ain't suing because it didn't hurt something.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah,
he ain't suing. You ain't real. So I'm not saying people ain't gonna come see you.
Yeah.
I'm saying that you gonna know that people don't look at you the same way as they did.
Yeah.
Fucking Kendrick was a mirror, and you didn't
Yeah.
like what you saw.
Well, no, I think someone pointed out something interesting. They said Drake was speaking to Kendrick, and Kendrick was speaking to everyone.
Man, look here. I done seen niggas like that before. Leave them alone. I done seen them. You know what? That nigga right there, walk.
Yeah.
And he picked the fight. He won. It's almost like they used to say, "I'm gonna let you chase me till I catch you." Like he looked like he calculated it. He looked like he did it on purpose, and he looked like he's benefited from it.
Well, that's what it is. D.L. Hughley, man, always a pleasure.
Likewise,
when we get
man.
together.
So we're gonna run the streets a little bit. We're gonna be
run the
both in New
streets,
York for a little while.
We drank a little bit of the expensive tequila
Yeah.
that I always get requested. when you
Always
come
very
over.
expensive though.
Always very
Yeah,
expensive.
come on now.
Never the cheap stuff. The $250 now, $250 per bottle stuff. That's
I don't even buy shit. Like I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see Vlad.
I know I will leave with a bottle afterwards. That's what it is, my man. Until next time.
Man.
Peace.
For sure.